That totally went through, Jess. Hello, and welcome to Critical ReRoll, the Critters podcast by the Critters for the Critters. I'm one of your hosts this week. My name is Matt. With me are two other hosts, if you guys want to say your names.
That's Jess.
That's Herk.
And that's all there is to know about them. Nothing else.
If you don't know us by now, sorry.
That's cool. No worries.
Yeah, like we're not people that I think people would know normally.
Or noteworthy.
So yeah, what we do, it's episode 4, so I guess we'll do this one more time. What we do is we're a bunch of critters who wanted to give back in a way that's not like fan art or other things, and give back in a way that's conversation, because if you haven't like talked to people about the show, it's a lot of fun, so we wanted to like share that with everybody we could. Did you guys have any like opening announcement things? There's still D&D Beyond, their sponsor. It's actually a really cool service. I started looking at it today. Definitely going to jump into that. There's also the whole Wormwood Valentine's Day thing, where you can like, you can send them the phrase you want, and they translate it into Elven or Elvish, whatever the correct term for that language is.
They're very cool but very expensive, and I really want to learn this one.
Right, I'm my own
Same.
Valentine.
My birthday. That's the so I thought maybe I could
Happy early birthday. And then I'll tell you happy birthday next week, and then on the actual day probably.
No, you'll probably forget.
I absolutely will forget. Well, cool. So is there anything else that you guys had?
I'm alive.
Excellent. Yes, we didn't say, I don't know why we didn't say, I realized today, Herky has been sick the last 2 weeks.
I was sick, my computer was sick, everything in my life was sick, but we're all alive.
Now. But now we're sick in like the cool version, like sick.
Yeah, sick.
Like he's got a beanie on and everything.
The music is playing
That totally
again.
went through, Jess. Hello, and welcome to Critical ReRoll, playing again.
Hmm?
Critters podcast by the Critters for the Critters. How is it playing again? I don't even know.
My
name is Matt. With me are two other hosts. If you guys want to say your names. Oh god, the music.
That's Jess.
How is it playing again?
That's
I closed it. And that's so bizarre. There is to know.
If there's something that can be broken, Matt Abernathy will break it.
Sorry.
This is a fact if you guys didn't know.
Although I will be completely honest, Matt definitely prepared very well for this compared to some other.
I tried.
Matt did some cool stuff for the podcast today. All you guys that are actually here, in for a treat.
Okay, did the music stop?
Matt was a keener today.
Matt, do you have the...
Yeah, it was, and I just fixed it.
Okay.
Is it better?
I'm sure it's fine. Continue.
Yes, music is off. I apologize. I thought I muted it beforehand. I tried to prepare properly this week.
See,
didn't work.
Prepares very well, but like when things actually happen, that's when
it's execution that I fuck up on.
Yeah.
Hey, first curse. Let's see. Well, we can go through the 2 quick things that I made. Is like, boom, now we can throw character portraits up, and it'll cycle through like every 5 seconds on like the face and then like the full body, and it'll go through everybody.
Cool.
Oh, hi, Bo.
The music is still playing? Okay. Mm-hmm.
Classic Critical ReRoll.
I think I'm... I don't know what I'm going to do. Should I like turn it off and turn it back on real quick?
We can start over. It's cool.
We can start over, guys. Blooper reel.
Hey, man. This is what happens when you do it live. No one's watching this anyway. I know that there are a bunch of really cool people in chat, and we appreciate them being here and not watching the Super Bowl. I may or may not be also watching the Super Bowl while I talk to you.
Cool.
Rude.
Listen, I didn't realize that you could just go
If you were watching Superb Owls, I would get it.
There are Superb Owls all over my room. I'm looking at many Superb Owls. I'm always watching the Superb Owls.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna pretend like the music was playing, so like ha ha ha, and then we're gonna pretend like we each had like little nameplates and like hosting Matt Abernathy, and then now Jess has to turn your head like you're on the TV thing, and Jess, and then also Herky, Perfect. And now we're started again. Hello, welcome to Critical Reroll. Warning, high CPU usage. Cool. I'm not going to go through all that again. Let's just jump into the episode because this is going great, you guys.
Swimmingly.
Speaking of swimming,
guys, we're professionals.
They didn't have to swim because they had a boat. So it picks up everybody. The trash family just finished killing the Nurglid. And then now they were trying to figure out, like, how are we going to oh, everybody's frozen. How are we going to transport them back to the mainland from the island? And so...
They did get ahead.
Okay. Yeah, they, through bribery and...
Persuasion.
More wine, they, talked the... What did he ever give us his name?
The boat guy? I don't think so.
I think he's just boat guy.
I think he's just boat guy.
Let them pass with not only a severed frog head, but also now a young child and a goblin. And he never really... And I guess Matt forgot, and so did Travis, until like they had crossed the river. That
Travis had been an old man.
That Travis wasn't the old man anymore. That had long since faded. Which I guess we'll hop into the first thing. So we talked a lot about the Fjord cast last week.
Oh God!
But with this one, there's one of the theories that's been going around is that Fjord constantly has up his mask of many faces.
Yes.
But he did go unconscious, and like the hour past that it lasts. And Matt's like, you return to your normal half-orc form. So I'm assuming this is what he really looks like.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any question about if this is what Fjord looks like normally. Like, I feel like that is him. And like you said, when he was unconscious, he stays in the same room as other party members. You can't cast a spell when you're asleep, and it only lasts an hour. So if he were to go to sleep, he would revert back to his normal form before he woke up. And like Mask of Many Faces, it just allows you to cast Disguise Self at will, but you still have to cast a spell. So people will still see you doing that. You can't just do it. It takes an entire action and, verbal and somatic components to cast that spell. So I think that this is just what he looks like.
And also, like, it's just an illusion over you. Like, you can phase through it if you touch him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that theory's kind of out now that he's not actually... that's not what he really looks like.
It's not 100% out. It's not 100%.
Listen, I'm throwing my head over that fence. Other thing I noticed, so at the beginning they were talking about... Taliesin, or they were talking about like bad rolls and everything, and Taliesin apparently has new dice on the way. He's like, I got some dice coming, so I'm excited to see what he's bought from Shapeways, probably. Let's see. So after they get onto the mainland, they start devising, like, what are we going to do now that we have this head over here? What's the play? And so what ends up happening is Fjord trots away, and everyone's talking about how they're going to send Caleb to get the Lawmaster, bring the Lawmaster over here, see the frog head, and try to, like, exonerate everybody from suspicion, which we found out doesn't initially work at all. It was really well done when Travis came back as a Crown's Guard, and they started talking through, like, you should be commended for your bravery bringing this head over, and the boat dude's like, no, I don't want anything to do with it. Please leave.
Yeah, Travis getting to be a high charisma, high strategy character has just been like so good. Like, just
it's great. It's scary. Like, I'm scared of what he's capable of.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't get to experience this side of Travis, and it's so good. And I feel like in one of the talks, I think I can't remember which of them said it, but someone said that they were excited for us to get to see the side of Travis, because apparently, like, Travis is fairly crafty, I guess.
Yeah, he's extremely intelligent.
Yeah, and on the flip side, we're getting to see the impulsive side of Laura.
Yes.
It's so good. It's just like the roles were completely flopped because Vex was a little more strategic and had like planning and like her appearance always on the mind, and now she's just
down
basically
to
the grog of the group. She's not dumb. She's just
she's up for anything.
Yeah.
I think I forget where she says it, but she's like, she kind of just believes everyone and just goes along with it. What else? Was there anything that I skipped over that y'all wanted to talk about? We've got some
mostly just
awkwardness with them playing with Molly's old friend's head and like traumatizing
poor Toya.
Yes, that exactly. They're already not starting well with children, or really kind of anyone at this point.
Children or old people?
Hey, but in
the old people wasn't their fault the first episode, in theory.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they definitely like. But I mean, Molly got to be very like sweet,
big brothery.
Yeah, to Toya, we got to see a really pleasant, nice side to him. He was being very protective. But then I like that it took like the whole group to pull an apology out of Bo when they were like, "You have to apologize," and they were like, "And
I'm sorry I hit you with my stick.
I'm sorry I choked you with my stick," or something like that. And they were like, "And I'll never do it again."
Yeah, no, that whole thing, and it's funny because later on, she like apologizes again and gives her like her jade bangle, and is like, this will protect you from assholes named Bo.
But
it's like, did they just create this campaign's Kynan?
Oh,
or like somebody said in the chat, like she's gonna be the Briarwood of this arc.
Well, Toya did say, she said, when I grow up, I'm going to come find you. But she said it in, like, a sweet, joking way. But, like, Bo gave her a little, like, knuckle on the chin. And it was like, no, but it'd be great if she did come back and, like, wreak havoc on them.
I mean, she's 12. So, like,
so you guys trust
adventuring D&D campaigns last maybe a few years in, like, real lifetime. So she's not going to grow up before the end of the campaign. But it'd be funny to have her come back in, like, a year and be little teenage monk.
One of my other favorite parts is Knott's first instinct whenever they get caught is like, should we kill him? True goblin nature. Bo apologizes, and then they split the party two or three ways. 3 ways. So you've got Bo and Molly and Bo and Jester and Knott head back to the inn. Caleb and Ford Caleb goes to the stockyard, and then Ford and Molly go to the carnival. Correct? Or did Ford stay back the whole time?
Ford stayed with the head.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 4-way split.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Math is hard.
So Ford stays back, doesn't do anything special. The 3 that go to the inn immediately get caught. And everyone kind of looks at each other like, who's supposed to be the one that talks us out of it? Jester, go, you got it. Has anyone seen my shoe that I dropped earlier? Didn't make any sense.
Well, and then further it, Bo was like, drop a ring. And they're like, yes, she dropped a ring. She calls it her shoe. Like,
she wears it on her toe.
I like to wear them on my toes.
It was just so stupid. I'm sorry. That part was so dumb.
No, but then they also rolled so bad, and the fact that like Knott tried to like be deceiving, and then he was like roll, and like Sam rolled like a 3, but he has a -3 against charisma.
Right, and that's like, and like, yeah, just
your mask falls off.
So like Jester's talking, and it's all, this is a big misunderstanding. And that's like, you're saying this while being shackled, and she's like, this is stupid. and then Knott's like, yeah, I'm set free, right? They're not doing anything to me. And then Knott's like, I'm just a bystander in these ruffians. And then rolls a 3 and just like looks Matt in the eyes like, I rolled a 0. and almost
I
killed him
laughed
because he
so
choked.
hard. Everyone laughed so hard when that
It
happened.
was fantastic. Can I get... Yeah, swap those out. Got stats circulating now. So Not has the 5 charisma, which is a -3. So anything, it's the opposite of Scanlan. It's the best thing. I don't know if it was here or later, but like Marisha started correcting kind of everybody when they're like level 2, and she's like shitty rolls.
Yeah. That was their regular chant through the episode. Is level 2. Anytime they were like, it's a 10 total. Like level 2.
Yeah, they're just pretty bad rolls, but also most of the rolls are for things that people weren't particularly good at. So you're already rolling like with poor stats or poor skills on top of having...
Yeah, but low rolls make fun stories. So then Caleb goes to find Norda. Yes, not Yorda. Yorda's Tavern, Norda's Lawmaker, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the weird names.
Doesn't matter.
Lawmaster,
yes.
Lawmaster,
And
Norda.
in my opinion, I don't think he started the conversation off well when he finally got to talk to her. Because he's like, I've killed somebody from the circus. This should clear my name.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating. Like, for someone who's watching this on the outside, you're like, you're handling this really poorly. Your interaction with the Lawmaster should not start out this way. It
was very belligerent.
I don't know. I don't know if this was just role playing and trying to be Caleb, and we just don't know Caleb that well yet. But it felt almost like reminiscent of Vax talking to the Raven Queen, like Liam, like trying to explain things to her, but us just being like, "No, you're doing it wrong. Say these other things," and then that just not happening. So I don't know if it's just like Liam when he's playing like that, or if it was just part of Caleb we haven't really witnessed much of yet.
True. Yeah, because like I mean, I don't personally know of any better way, but I wouldn't start the conversation with "I've murdered somebody, I've killed this carnival frog, and you're gonna come look at this head, and that's clearly gonna let my friends free," right?
Yeah,
that's how that conversation is gonna go. And mid-conversation, when he's like, you know, my friends that you put under house arrest, and then they come walking in chains. Jess, you're muted. There you go.
No, it doesn't want to unmute. Oh, I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say the part where he like points out like, because Not to that point hadn't been revealed as a goblin, and he was like, "Hi, person who would have like high prejudices against my goblin friend. This is a goblin." Like I was like,
"Oh, you know, that's later. That was later during the trial part." Yeah.
Okay, I was like, no.
Yes, everybody walks up. Not is in double chains. Yeah, he's like chains in hands and feet. Jester's jingling the chains, and she's like, "Oh, these companions of yours, they roll decent enough to get her to agree to like spend some time and go to the docks with them." The whole time.
More importantly, we get Bo in chains.
Bo's back in chains. Help. So yeah, they get back to the head, and Ford has turned into his old man self and is kind of just lurking in the shadows, I believe. While this is happening, Molly Mock is taking Toya back to the carnival, has to roll a couple stealth checks, and eventually is able to get her under the tent. But I thought it was established last session that both Desmond and Orna were also arrested. So it's like, is she just leaving this 12-year-old girl stuck at a camp by herself and doesn't know it yet?
They were.
But I guess he like retconned it. Because when last session, when they found out that the 2 Crownsguard had been murdered, they arrested both Orna and Desmond, I thought, at least. I just thought it was funny, like, just leaving the girl in a camp all by herself after they just killed her best friend for the last 2 years, or however many years.
In theory, there would be other people. Like they would have just taken the like management level people, right? From the
Well, what other there was no one else described that worked at the carnival other than
well,
those that
okay,
we
but
met.
like you think
Like,
the entire carnival would run without like some hands that weren't on stage that we didn't see? There must
I
have
mean,
been other people.
Matt did say towards the end, because when they're talking about like what are they going to take from the carnival, like he said there's only enough for like you 7 that were with the carnival and then
Oh
a
shit.
small tent. So yeah, it's a pretty small operation, I think.
Yeah.
Either way, I guess Matt changed his mind and let Orna and Desmond be over there. And then
I thought that was a little weird. Mollywock just taking Toya back and just being like, "Cool, we killed the dude," and
but I think like
send you
Matt
off on your way rather than
Yeah.
like try to have her talk or try to comfort her more or
Right.
anything. She's a really big key in them getting off, and so it was kind of weird that he just kind of put her back without really knowing what was going to happen.
It sometimes feels when Talison's play style, when he's dealing with anything that regards his backstory, it's kind of like creating the mythos as he's RPing. So he like made the decision, like, yeah, she knows what to say or what not to say when guards are present, or you know, she knows not to mention any of us were there, and kind of like making these NPC decisions because it's part of his backstory. So like, I guess in his mindset that made sense to just leave her because in his mind, she knew what she was supposed to do. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
At least that's how I see it.
Like she's only 12, but I think she's supposed to be fairly mature, having been stuck living on the street and then growing up at the carnival.
Right.
And then also like maybe Molly didn't remember there weren't people there. Like maybe he thought he was returning her to like good people.
Well, and like something that was interesting is when they were talking to her on the boat, like, you know, what did you and Calorie talk about? And like, do you know what an ergolit is? And nobody ever insight checked her the whole time.
Yeah, I thought that too. I thought they should have been doing more. Like they talked to her a little bit.
And they didn't question the part where they're like, so, you know, your act, you know, did you know your singing could enrapture people the way it does? She's like, oh yeah, that's just a thing I've been able to do.
Yes.
You're like, press towards that. What is that? What does that mean?
That part got me too. And I was like, it could just be Matt being like, oh, she's just a natural bard. Like she has natural bard skills or something like that. Like, you know, her X-Men mutant powers came really early.
Yeah.
But part of me was also like, press for that. Like that's like she's been doing that on the street. She's been with the circus for like how long? So she's had an inherent ability to charm people since she was like 9 years old, let's say, like at least.
Mm-hmm. And like nobody questioned it. They're like, yeah, okay, that seems right. He can change the way he looks, and he's got a magical cat.
Yeah, like we still don't know, and Molly's the one that was the only one that even pushed this fact. We still don't know what started it. Why 2 years of no issues, and then suddenly people are turning into zombies left, right, and center? Like, even if it did come from this guy, where did it start from? Was it an accident on his part, and he was just freaking out and running away and protecting the little girl? Or did she start it in him? Or was it this space that started it? Was it this creepy lake that everyone keeps talking about? And which island? I don't know. Like,
yeah, that was my favorite part that Taliesin did as Molly, was like keep pushing the question, like, why now? Why after this?
Yeah.
All this time we've had this guy. What set him off? And so that's when I tweeted out asking for questions. That was one thing that Herky said. It was like, yeah, is this some sort of like thread that's gonna? Because Matt does this thing where he keeps something in an arc and kind of echoes throughout other arcs. Is this gonna come back? Or are people gonna like start revealing abilities or like turning evil slowly in other places?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be fun.
This
to
is
see any repercussions from that.
Skipping forward to the rest of the episode a little bit, but I think it's relevant. Like they joked about to talk about how it's definitely possible that like Toya knew what was going on, or she is the mastermind, or like concocted this in some sort of way and just like got off scot-free, like no real questions, and she's like just free to go. So that is a thread that could potentially still exist.
I missed who it was, but somebody's like, I'm calling it now. Toya is the Lady Briarwood of this campaign. I feel like it was Uncle Ook.
Probably.
I don't think she's going to be anything like a big bad, but
I think we'll see her again. We'll definitely see people in the
definitely-
carnival again.
there's definitely like a possibility that she could have started this or knew what was going on and encouraged it or whatever. I mean, because he was very protective of her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very possible that if it was something that she started, he was just carrying out.
Well, and like we've been saying, like a lot of people have been saying, has he been sapping energy from her this whole time? Because they were talking about how like he has the two powers, the one that like goes super fast and makes zombies, and the other one that slowly saps power from people. And is she, Matt portrays her with that like hurt sort of voice, and like like has he been sapping power from her? But has she been charming him this whole time? If she's inherently had that ability to like just charm people, could it have been going the other way this whole time, and everything we took from him to be aggressive was her making him do it, or something like that?
Or maybe he was like going through some sort of like withdrawals because he got caught, and now she's like, you can't siphon off energy anymore. He kind of rebelled. I don't know. A part of me wants that to be true. Of like, they're not done with this. Whatever happened in the city, they're not done with it. They're going to see it again. Other part is like, I think maybe they're done with this city. Like they completed it. They killed the bad guy that was killing this man. I also agree that it could have just been a random event. That's why they don't like old people or sick people getting in. But then again, that begs the question of like, who made the flyer that said that, and did they know that that's what this toad could do? But also, they didn't find anything. There was like no story thread that led them in any sort of direction that would continue this arc of the whole.
Yeah, exactly. There's just like a lot of unanswered questions, like a lot of pieces that just didn't fit together, but they weren't really successful in figuring it out. But they got the end result that they wanted, so they're moving on. So like this very well may just be something that we never learn, or never like gets resolved in the way that we would want it to. But because they're so level and things are moving on, they're just gonna go off onto other stuff.
Right. This is just like, here's your step ladder into level 3. Go. So anywho, they're back at the head. Molly Mock returns to the scene and like is skulking around, and he's like, "Screw it, I'm gonna walk up," and immediately gets arrested.
But he did. He like, I love the way he did it. He like came with his hands presented, and like, was it Norda was like, I love it when they do this. Like, it'd be great if we had more criminals like you doofuses. Like,
and he was like, yeah, but fewer questions need to be answered. And then they mention that it's a fiend, and so she sends off, and that's where we meet another character, another NPC, Archivist Xenoff, who makes Beauregard very squeamish. We find out he's from the Cobalt Soul, which is a library that keeps information. It's kind of like if you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's the owl that has the sunken library that sends off the fox spirits to go gather information. It's kind of that similar thing, I feel like. Oh, Diddy Taliesin consulted his cards at the table before walking up to the guards.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Thank you, Rizgofti.
That's really cool.
See, Archivist Xenoff. At this point, we didn't know the history that he had with Beauregard. He's from the Zadash. And basically, they're going to go have a trial now because they don't know what to believe. And so they head back, and it's basically a trial to say, prove that you aren't working with the demon toad. Not like prove that the demon toad is evil. Like, we've got confirmation now from multiple people from this book, from the archivist, that yeah, it's a fiend, it's evil, it did this thing. Tell us why you weren't working with it and why we shouldn't suspect you. Let's see, before that, I keep saying Fjord. Ford goes to the inn, talks to the guard, gets escorted to the stockade, and then Ashley comes back. So that was the thing that you were saying earlier, is that was like one of your main notes, is that there was a spot open for Ashley on the table. And did they confirm that in talks that she'd be back?
Yeah.
Okay.
They was it like Brian was just talking about how like she was coming back. So basically, yeah, we knew at talks that she would be back.
Excellent. And I liked her little story of like she immediately got captured as soon as she left. Like I'm not a fan of confined spaces, so I ran. How long were you in prison? Almost instantly I got caught.
Yeah, that was one of the. I mean, we like you said, we kind of knew that she was coming back, but it's always one of the nice, heartwarming things that you notice at first is that they left a spot open for her there when the episode started. So we're like, yeah, Ashley's here, and it was just a matter of getting her here. And that brings me to like another thing I had thought about, was just with the way Caleb was handling the situation. He was very adamant on like getting things done right this second and having the trial tonight in the middle of the night rather than just like allowing it to go to morning, which I don't think would have really changed anything. But it's possible that that was partially a metagame way of them trying to get Ashley back at the table as soon as possible.
That's true. We've got one question in the chat from Edelbim31. Could there be anything that Yasha did in session 0? The Devil Toad was I'm assuming you meant Fiend. Yasha is ASMR, and I think she saved Molly in session 0.
She wasn't actually there for her session 0. Zero for her session 0. She wasn't there. So they actually they specified that Matt had to puppet her. And it was funny because Taliesin said that even as a puppet, she saved his ass. Even like her new character, not her, she wasn't there, and she still like saved him. So yeah, she wasn't actually there for that. But I'm not sure. Like obviously, Yasha was still in the storyline, so something could have happened with Yasha.
Do we know what kind of happened in their session 0?
I don't know about theirs.
Okay.
I don't know.
I like that he's keeping all of his secrets as tight as he can.
The only one we know a little bit about Jester, Ford, and Bo. That's just because they're chatty and they talked a lot about theirs.
Yeah.
So we know they were working for one of the one of the beer families.
The bomb box at the beginning, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. They kind of start with Caleb. He starts the process because he's the only one not in chains. Ford has showed up at this point, and then he starts kind of going down the list, like, does this person seem like they would work with the circus, and kind of tearing his friends down, but also giving reasons as to why they wouldn't be part of the circus or part of this whole nonsense. There's some pretty bad rolls, but they eventually kind of get through it. Molly helped out because he revealed that he was there and like, I'm part of the circus and I had to kill my own friend. And then we get the whole, is that goblin pissing in my courtroom? Because Sam's pouring himself a drink. And she just gets nervous.
She aerates her bladder when she's nervous.
They can't let him live down the whole aerator thing. I love it. We do find out that Nott is from a Felderwin tillage. I meant to look at the map. Speaking of maps, I think I have a link.
Oh my god, do you have that map? It's so freaking gorgeous.
Felder. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that Nott is from Felderwin Tillage. No, you're right, Tillage. And which is compared to Gringwire, I think was the name of where Norda's friends had been cut down, as she put it.
Yeah. And then it got interesting because she's like, well, maybe we should send a party up there to see your clan. And Nott's like, yeah, do it. I'll help you track them. So what's going on with Nott's backstory? Why is she not with more goblin? What happened? What made her turn to I don't want to say good side because I don't see any of these people as heroes yet.
I was just thinking that today. I was thinking how interesting of a story we're going to have when like how much harder is it going to be to convince not good guys to go do good storylines?
Right, they're all very chaotic, it feels.
Yeah, but like you were saying, like this episode was really good for backstory because we got Bobo this time, we got not at this point, and it was like you said, why did she leave her tribe? Like why is she so quick to turn? Did they do like an insight check on her? Like was she bluffing? Like it seemed like she's pretty sincere that she was like, you can go kill them, I don't care, I'm not with them anymore. Like done.
No, nobody tried to roll against them. Which they should. I love group insight checks this early on because like everybody's got secrets.
Yeah, no one knows anything. They might as well be insight checking each other.
They came to this game prepared. Like I don't trust anybody.
The problem with that is like insight is such a difficult skill to manage in D&D because it's not just like a magical sense of telling whether someone is lying or not, and it's almost just used like that a lot. It's really just kind of gather information about their intentions to see if you can like get kind of vibes and stuff like that. So it's really hard for them to do that a lot of times, and it's also hard. It's a really difficult skill to kind of use for secrets because without giving, the only way you can do that without giving information to a lot of party members is to have lots of whispers. Because if someone insight checked the other person, then that person needs to either roll a persuasion or deception or something like that, and that information is often given away when it really shouldn't be. And then if they find out anything, then the person who did the insight check would find out stuff, and that information is usually sometimes carried over to other party members when it shouldn't be. So like it's kind of difficult to bring up in a situation like that because it really should kind of be a one-on-one thing, but that doesn't really work really well for like a stream.
Yeah, I got you. That makes sense. There should be more party whispers then. That's fun.
I mean, I agree. I think secrets are awesome, and people should do stuff like
especially
that.
Especially they're like all super interesting people, and I want to know their secrets, but I don't want to like just have somebody lay them out in front of me. I want to learn them. So long story short with this, they are set free. They confirm with Xenoth that it was a fiend and that it did do all these things. Gustav still takes all the responsibility, owes the town a lot of money, and has to stay and pay it back. But everyone else is set free. No charges are against them.
Did no one else wonder if that was weird? Gustav's just an honest to goodness, lawful good guy, like straight up, like that was it.
So there's something that I noticed that he does, and I don't know if it's like just a character thing that Matt does, or if there's some sort of monster or something that does this. But he talks kind of in threes sometimes, or like repeats himself.
Really?
So when he's like, I'll take full responsibility, I'll take full responsibility, I'll take full responsibility, like pointing at different people, and then later on when they're talking in the pub, because they go back to the inn and drink together, he's like, I'm so sorry for your what does he say? What are the words? Sorry for like your troubles. Let's see. I know I wrote it down, but I don't know where I wrote it down. He like repeats himself a lot.
That's interesting.
And it's always like three, and like Matt gestures to three different people as he's saying it. I thought it was like, I don't know if it's a character thing or like some
thing, or if
weird
it's
something else.
Like, and it goes back to them shouting like level 2 all the time. Like there could easily be so much more going on here. There could easily be so much stuff under the surface, or stuff right in front of their faces that they just didn't catch because they're so low level. They have very little skills. They're not good at anything yet. They're rolling so bad. And even if they rolled well, how much would Matt give them at level 2? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's still like room for misunderstanding there and stuff like that. And I'm just, I can't help but feel like this was too easy of a black and white story with black and white characters, and that just isn't Matt to me. So I can't help but like look at every little thing and be like, is that a thing? Is that a hint? Is that a hint? Is that like where are the clues that like next year when they come back to this town and there's a massive thing going on, are we gonna be like, that's the signs that we missed? Like what is it gonna be? Like,
Well, so reinforcement is a thing of performances, apparently. So thank you, Inventor. And Hazywood, I don't remember the app. I haven't watched it yet. But is there any chance Gustav was quick to say hi to the Crown's Guard to keep them from looking too closely at other Carnival members? Or was there context that might disregard that? I'm super suspicious.
A big part of it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I think that was a big part of it. Him just trying to protect everybody else to make sure that no one else got in any sort of trouble. It doesn't take away the fact that he seems like a very lawful good kind of character who's just wants everything to be okay and will work off everything, and really just comes off as not the kind of person that would run a carnival, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly part of it to me. Like we saw the Knot sisters take off immediately as soon as they could. We saw Desmond take off as soon as he could. Like,
I was gonna get to that, yeah.
As part of this like whole circus thing, like they talk about being a circus family, and either you're gonna be like close-knit, quiet, protective, or you're gonna all run away together, like, or separately. And that's sort of like to have someone that keeps like being the face of it and being like, no, don't look at anyone else, I will take all the, and like, what was it? It was 2,654 gold or something like that, like 45, 50, something 45. Like that. That is a bananas amount of gold at like level, I think they said like we've never seen that. Like that's a lot of gold.
That's a lot of gold.
That's the rest.
Well, like
of
6
life,
people died.
It's a few years. I think that's what he kind of came off with a few years of work, really.
I do like they're like, there are quicker ways we could get this. We can go steal from the bomb box.
That was mentioned, wasn't it? Stealing.
Yeah, but yeah. So they go back to the inn, and they're kind of asking, so what are you going to do now? And like Desmond is real quick to, I think I'm going to find my own path now. And Desmond just bamps and like leaves. We didn't learn anything about him except that he was super suspicious and covered in scars. I want to know. He's going to come back. He's going to come back.
He was definitely suspicious.
Yeah.
As far as everyone else, we've got Ford and Jester still planning to go to the Solstice Academy. Bo claimed that she was on a walking tour, which was an obvious lie. Gustav cuts in and is like, well, whatever you're doing, I hope you do it okay, whatever. And he leaves, and Jester gives Gustav one of her family heirloom rings. And he's like, oh, this looks like the pinky ring I lost not too long ago. And she's like, oh, that's so funny. And then he says to Molly Mock, I hope you find what you're looking for. And then Jester's like, oh, what are you looking for? Like, I don't know, I'm not done to the drink that he's having. So they just got to get him drunk enough. That's what it feels like. So he can learn his secrets.
Well, they're leaving Beer Town, so that might take a while.
They are, but they bought drugs.
Oh gosh, yeah. That was a whole thing.
So, before that, we've got a whole
thing, yeah. So, midway through, we get the whole life needs things to live callback, which was great.
Oh yeah, and he was like, "What kind of a dumb saying is that?" Like, I thought it was funny because while he what led Jester to saying that when he was saying a bunch of stuff and Molly Mock was saying stuff, it was still very Taliesin sort of stuff, sort of very like, he's like, I just want to live my life like a life, and every day is a life, and you only have one life. And I was like, okay. And then that's when she pulled out the like, yeah, you really like, life needs things to live. It's like, what a stupid saying.
And then they crap on Boulder Parchment Shears as a stupid game. One of my favorite things is from Jester is like, it's best if we have our secrets. It's true, it is best, but I want to know some of them.
Yeah.
This was my note. It was right here where these people weren't heroes. There's something else. So like, what are they? It kind of felt Suicide Squad-y. Okay. Like they're a bunch of bad guys that have to do a good thing,
Yeah.
I don't think
not in a shitty movie style. Well, they're not necessarily bad, but they're all super fine with deception.
And lying and stealing and
with deception. I mean, like Ford especially kind of comes off as much more of a good character than the rest of them. Like he's definitely very deceptive. He's just as shady not as in a bad way.
It's the Southern charm. You're being blinded by the accent.
Maybe I am.
He's a shady son bitch.
It's the Southern hospitality that's getting you. Well, because it happened a few times in this episode. I think Ford calls out to like Caleb as like, you seem like a good, responsible, like parent type person. And then at the end of the episode, Caleb says the same sort of idea to Ford, where he's like, you also are like a good dad. Like, and I was like, these are our two dads. These are like, we don't have like a group mom this time. We have these are our two dads. But even then, you still have, like you said, like friggin' Ford is definitely hiding shit. He's definitely hiding shit. He like is really good at being so polite at the right times, and so I think that comes across that way. And he's like,
but he's really good at doing like different voices in game when he switches.
He's so good.
He's so good. Faces.
And then we have Caleb, who, like, you know, they were talking about how, like, oh, you guys were in jail. Why were you? Because that got revealed this time too, like that Not and Caleb broke out of jail together, right? And it was like, oh, you guys were in jail. Why? I was like, oh, we just stole small things. Like, it's like, so like no one's like, I feel like no one's evil, but no one's good. Like they're all like, oh, they're cool with like theft, trickery.
I don't think that they
disposing of dead bodies
together, right? I think they met in jail and then not.
And they broke out together. Do you think that's their story?
They never confirmed that. So like there was an inside check on the whole months ago that they broke out. And Matt told Liam that he didn't have to reveal what he was rolling, that he just needed to roll some sort of charisma check, but it was deception. So I'm assuming it was a lie. But when they asked if Not and Caleb met there, somebody else kind of picked up the conversation, so that question never got answered, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. But where I was going with that was, it seems a little bit more to me, at least, that Caleb is a little bit more of a good person who kind of finds himself in awful situations and then has to do what he needs to do to survive from there. I don't think that necessarily means that Caleb is bad or evil or whatever either. He's certainly okay with not stealing from perfectly normal dudes, so that's not good, but he's not doing it himself.
That's true. I mean, but he encourages it too. Like, we're gonna go back to the bookstore, so you get your turn to fight.
I'm gonna distract, so make sure you're stealing stuff. Like, let's go get.
But in a way, he feels like he owes Not, and if that's kind of Not's MO, then he's not gonna like counteract that, I think.
So then we get to Marisha's solo play. So Xenoth, Archivist Xenoth, comes back in and asks for Beauregard to come with them. And she goes, and that's where we see the hooded figure again. Turns out it's a female elf who's all apparently attractive. And they go off to a secluded Bombach warehouse. And that is where we learn that she is part of the Cobalt Reserve. No, Cobalt Soul. She's a student there, like of the monk academy or whatever. Did either of you guys want to take that one?
About the Cobalt Soul?
Or just any of that, the whole situation that happened. Like Marisha's whole solo player.
I thought that was really cool. I'll like Herky if you want to take it, but I just I
mean, I don't really have any notes, and I only watched it once, so I'm probably not good to give a rundown of what happened. But I will say that to kind of tie things back to what we were talking about regarding characters and alignments and things like that. After that whole situation, definitely seemed like Bo was a little bit more of a good character than I expected. Clearly, she's not cool with prisons and stuff, but I wasn't really expecting that to go the way it did. I feel like, again, a good balance between like shady and good, but I thought Bo was going to be much more of like a shady character than it seems like she actually might be.
Really? I thought she was okay. I thought she was gonna be more good. I totally thought she was gonna be like Drunken Monk, just from what we were getting there. But I mean, they were all always in a bar setting, so maybe that was like just they were all always drinking and stuff like that. Her parents were from a winery or something. She said like that. I was like, oh, totally Drunken Monk. But then we got to see this whole thing, and after it, as well as like during it, she was very happy to like watch
Xenoth or Dairon.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dairon like go to town on that dude. They just like all like had a fight club, like and one defenseless dude that they just beat the shit out of. But then also afterwards, she was like talking about using her like now criminal skills. She's like, I'm a criminal now. I want them criminal skills.
Well, she always had the criminal background. That's the thing. Like that was the background that she took as Bo. So she's done some shit. But what we learn in the Bo solo hour is that she is a student of the archive. She was taken in or given to the archive by her parents, and they want to keep her learning because she showed potential. And the Cobalt Soul is for the is a library, kind of their deity is the mistress, and so the cloaked figure steps up after Xenoth kind of fails to like get her to come back. He's like, you failed, that this is now my thing I'm going to deal with. I thought it was interesting because I didn't expect the cloaked figure at the time to be like of a higher rank than Xenoth. I thought she was like muscle and he was kind of big important person, but she's the big important person. He's nobody. He refers to her as an expositor. And what we know about them from this is that they are kind of the secret society within the bigger society, the bigger monk protecting the knowledge thing. And Matt gave him like a really cool creed that I like had to listen to a couple times and write down. So let's see. We are the hidden strength of the library. We wade in the filth of society. We weed out the corrupt. We pursue the secrets and evil of the world and expose them to the light. We twist the arm of the unjust until they spill their mysteries. We are the spies. We are the hunters. We are the watchmen of those who rule. We are not kind. We are forthright. We are truth. So it kind of feels like it's the anonymous of the D&D world.
No, but they sounded like in the book they sound a lot more like in the episode they seemed really shady and kind of bad, and like Bo seemed excited to be like, let's go do crimes, I'm a criminal. Like she seems super excited for that. But when you read the book, it's so cool. Like it sounds like they're protectors of the library, but that they also like just they're very intelligent fighters, like intelligent monks, intelligent fighters, which I feel like often intelligence is one of those possible dump stats, and you don't see that here, like because intelligence is important with these characters. And I love that we got to see something that I can't wait to see Bo use the extract aspects. I cannot wait to see that because I'm so curious. Like, so basically how it works is like when you're attacking, you land hits, and then you can expend key points to learn stuff about the person you're fighting. Like, so basically we saw it with Dairon, where she was like, smack, smack, smack to Bo, and then like Matt described her as like, she takes
pulling
a second. He says she's sort of standing there and just analyzing, and then instead of coming at you, she does something completely different, right? Like, because it allows you to stop and like sort of take what you learned, like, I don't know, analyze, and like it's super interesting, and I can't wait to see how that gets used in battle. I can't wait to see how Bo uses that, and then just that 1v1 fight was so good. Like I think that's not always my favorite thing, but this was such, I don't know, it was a really good moment. It was really great. He cleared everyone out. They had that moment, and like I love Marisha like trying to be like, she's being like that rebellious dick type character. She's like the person's trying to like
my ass hurts because of all the smoke.
Oh, you're blowing so much smoke up my ass. Yeah, but then like when she gets to like learn these super cool tricks, then she like fully grabs her stool, stands, like gets into like crouch paying attention position. She's so excited to like learn it.
Well, and it was a lot of fun because the last campaign, the only solo fights we had was Grog and Earthbreaker Groon, and that was just a slugfest to see who would fall first, or like him and Kern. And this one, it was literally like, this monk lady is here to show you like how outclassed you are.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you only take 1 point of bludgeoning damage, but she hits you in the back of the head. She hits you right here, and all these pressure points.
Yeah, she's basically like tapping her in exactly the right place. Like she's perfect control.
It definitely feels like they pull more from Avatar with like May, one of Azula's like right-hand women who like does the whole key blocking things.
Yeah. But then also, can we Marisha got 2 nat 20s in a row, and she's like, bam,
That was
bam.
really,
Like,
and she's like, I don't have anyone next to me to approve.
I know, and Matt was like, I can see it, I can see it. Like, they were so excited. It was so cute.
But yeah, that whole thing happens. They spend the night just beating up on Xenoth, and kind of, this is a more than likely what the monk tradition that Bo's gonna take. And then the next day, they go have baths, buy maps, and drugs. Is there
Yes.
who wants to jump into specifics on that one?
I don't know. I feel like I talked about the last one a bunch. No, I can
Your
do it
turn,
though.
Herky. What you got?
Not a whole lot.
Nothing.
No, I mean, before we move on to that, like, I thought that whole thing was really cool, and bringing it back to Belle's kind of character, it does seem like she's, you know, she has family, so it seems like she's like a rich girl, like rebelling away from everything, which is like the normal, like natural, like teenage, like college age year thing, which makes a little bit more sense now, and why I kind of see her as maybe a little bit more of a good character, especially after how she treated Toya at the end, and she was like, okay, she's like a really good-hearted person, but her first instinct is like fuck authority.
Yeah. And like why do I not want to say it properly? Expositor like was like, that can be a good thing. She was like, that's the fact that like you
questioning
don't,
authority.
yeah, you questioning authority can be a good thing. So now you can like go out into the world, like learn and like question what's up.
But yeah, so the next day they do go buy some drugs, looking for healing potions, and walk out with drugs. I think Ford buys a healing potion.
Yeah, and he gets drugs thrown in for free because
Yeah.
he's so charismatic. And that was actually one of the really good first moments where we got to see sort of how Matt is changing the roles. He's like, you can't all just keep rolling the same thing, right? He's like, you have to choose to support, and so they did it really well where he said something and then Bo was like, yeah, and I don't think you want us to go like leaving here knowing about your drugs not unhappy, right? And he was like, okay, you roll with advantage, and they like high-fived. It was so good.
But that's more. She's like extorting them. I don't see any of them as necessarily like good characters. They're all chaotic or some sort of.
They also
rude.
just bought drugs and
neutral.
don't have money and are buying a healing potion, which is like one of the most expensive things any of them owns.
She's like so quick to do shady things, though.
I feel like that makes her bad.
I mean,
it doesn't make her good.
I don't think any of them are evil.
Like,
none of them are evil. I just don't think any of them are good either. I think they're all in the neutral sort of.
They're just hanging out in the
not
gray
might
area.
be evil.
Well, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So they get a map, which is a really cool map, and I put a link in there to Devin's Twitter. It's really cool. The drug is called Skine. And it's a dried fungus, and when you eat it, you can see the weave of time.
Yeah.
So I'm interested, and I love that they called out the fact, like, Matt, you didn't make this up on the spot. You had this plan, and it's like, yeah, I did.
Knew y'all gonna go searching for drugs in this world. Like, that's so good.
Episode 3. And he, like, does the whole show, like, hey, guys, we're selling D&D drugs. Which is probably what I'll name this episode title. D&D, but the second one means drugs.
Dungeons and Dragons and drugs.
Yeah.
Drugs and dragons. So, while they're doing that, Nott and Caleb go to a bathhouse, which is a funny, interesting experience. It's funny for me because a game that I played basically took place in an onsen, and I was a warlock with Mask of Many Faces, so I was disguised and also bathing disguised, which is a very weird thing to describe when
so you're like a fully clothed person
of someone who's fully clothed and not wet, like in a shower,
and like you just pull clothes out of your person.
Yeah, that was such a good description.
It was really funny and reminiscent for me.
Fun things that happened during that. Nott steals all the shit.
My god.
Pours out the cucumber water and eats the cucumbers. Dips her toe in the water. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, the worm do not.
She's a dirty little gremlin girl.
Is there anything to the point of Caleb not like getting his head wet at all?
I think that was just him being an asshole. I feel like that was just him being like, just because Jester kept like from the first episode, she was like, "You know they have baths here." Like I swear to God, he did it just to be like, "Oh well, I had a bath like up to my comfort level, but now I'm gonna go back and appear just as fucking dirty." Like,
and not clean my clothes at all, so I still smell. I'm not as interested in his stuff, admittedly, but I'm kind of interested on like why he's so touched by magic books. Like he RP'd him as being like real somber and sad as he like started copying the spell. Which, how can he even do it? Costs so much money to do that, Matt. Did you forget that rule? I'm kidding. I think it's like what, 50 gold to copy a spell.
That's unreasonable.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
It's not cheap.
Or it's like half as much time and money if you're that school of magic. Somebody said, is he like a librarian of Lamb? L-A-M. I looked it up earlier and I forgot. I'm sorry, Christina. Librarian of the Lamb. The Library, Archive, and Museum Collection. So is he like gathering information because he's got that whole keen mind? So he's like memorizing everything he reads.
Yeah, Not said he could memorize things, and he was also trying to ask if he could also speed read. And I feel like Matt was a little like, I can't have a perfect eidetic memory and speed reading and like just know all the things. But okay. I'm definitely curious if there's some interesting, fun story there with like with his thing with books. I still like there was one theory that like he was secretly the writer of those trashy romance novels, like under a different pen name or something like that. Mm-hmm. That was a good one. I feel like he has an additional connection to books aside from being a wizard that maybe we'll like see at some point.
Quick thing, don't mean to cut you off. Hazy Wood again, killing it in the chat. Mark my words, Caleb's a fake ginger. Does he have something in his hair that makes it look red? And that's why he didn't wash it.
That's interesting.
I mean, that's like the most obvious thing, I think.
Well, every once in a while, when those two are talking, I can't help but feel like they're talking in codes. I mean, maybe that's just me.
Explain.
Well, just sometimes the way they're talking about, like, we need to get your medicine, we need to get, like, every once in a while, the way they talk about things, I can't help but feel like, once again, this is probably just me being overly paranoid about everything, but I can't help but feel like we're gonna, like, find out, it turns out, like, there is something else there is something they are looking for, not telling us. And they were using code words for so that they can like talk about it publicly, but it's a little bit of something else. There's something else.
I think that they're doing that on purpose, of course, and it's pretty easy for us and other people to notice, but I don't think there's anything else behind there. I think that's just their natural state of like talking about their little bit of shadiness that they've got going on, which is already open to us. I don't think there's anything else crazy behind the scenes that they're talking about, but could be wrong. Also,
I got 2 agrees in chat, so I feel vindicated.
Well, there you go.
I feel better. Sorry, go ahead. You were saying also?
Oh, I was just saying that the Eagles are about to win the Super Bowl, so.
Oh, okay. There you go, guys.
Thanks for joining us in this D&D chat.
Sports ball, Superb Owls
is on the stuff.
Yes. So okay. Oh, I agree, Jess. Honestly, for the first episodes, I thought whenever Not was needing a drink, it was something beside alcohol. Yeah. See, I was saying the same thing. Like both in terms of saying like Not needs a drink and that Caleb needed a certain kind of medicine. I was like, like I know, like it easily could just be alcohol and potions. Like it could easily be alcohol and healing potions, but I can't help but feel like they would work out a secret something.
A secret code. Okay.
They have secret other drugs.
Other drugs, yeah. Other drugs. Yep, absolutely.
Oh, one other interesting thing. So basically, they're all talking about like places that they shouldn't travel because of like past experiences there. I didn't bother making a list of that because there's too many things, and I didn't know how to write everything down at the time.
I have a few things.
Some people didn't want to go north. Some people didn't want to go south. Some people didn't want to go east.
They literally listed like we can't go
Every
north.
direction.
Okay, but we can't go south. Okay, well we can't go east. Okay, well we can't go west. We can go
they do decide on Zadash, like they're gonna head that way because Bo was originally skeptical about that place, but then through talking with Dyrun and beating the shit out of Xenoth, she's okay with that place now because she's part of the secret society. But they kind of drill
did that for the amusement factor regarding where they can and can't go.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's any particular reason that they can't go some directions. I just thought that they did it for the funnies.
All that matters is that they ultimately go to Hopper Duke.
Yes, that is the goal. But they kind of grill Ashley on coming up with a reason why she can't always be with them. And she says something that's interesting, though, because she's like, I can't leave here until I'm told I can leave.
Mm-hmm.
And so we know she's an ASMR, and ASMRs kind of have like an angelic guide that kind of gives them like, hey, this is your new quest, go do this. So I'm assuming it has something to do with that 4-leaf clover in her book that she presses flowers in.
Yeah, that was interesting that she had a book handy and that she happily accepted the flower gift that Not gave her to pacify her because Not was worried about she was intimidated by her. But that she, like you said, she has the 4-leaf clover.
I want to know more about like who she gets her orders from and like how I understand the mechanic of giving Ashley an out for not being there, but I want to know if it's like going to affect the game further. That was the only thing I picked up from the end, really. And then Jester sending a message home to Mom to give her more money because all the money is gone. Send it to the biggest place in Zadash. That's where I'll be.
Yeah,
I'll pick it up.
She's from Nicodranus?
Nicodranus, yeah.
Do you think... now, I'm not super familiar with ASMR, but do Fallen ASMR still follow an angelic guide? I feel like they don't, because they've kind of turned their back on that.
Yeah.
I feel like she is a Fallen ASMR.
Yeah, that was...
kind of the vibe we're getting from everything.
I feel like we'll discussed that
at level 3 when she's doing some stuff, probably, but...
when she like gives off her wings and they're
when she starts flying, or I guess if she's a fallen ASMR, they don't fly. But
speaking of level 3, do we want to go ahead and chat about that? So I posted some links to straw polls about what everybody thinks each person's going to take now that they've hit level 3, and let's see if I don't screw everything up.
I think we can all agree Bo is going.
Yeah,
Cobalt Souls.
I mean, you never know.
They wouldn't have had that otherwise.
They would, there was that whole thing. So I think we can all agree, Bo. Guys, if you didn't see them, go up to the straw polls. They're in chat, and any of those, click on them. So we have Bo's Tradition, Ford's Pact, Yasha's Primal Path, and Molly Mock's Order on there. Oh, and Not's Archetype.
Yeah, so let's start with Not, because I have hers up right now. So the possible ones these are at least the ones that are in published D&D books. You've got the Thief from the Player's Handbook, Assassin, Arcane Trickster, and then you have Mastermind, Swashbuckler, Inquisitive, and Scout. Now, personally, I'll let you guys go first.
Go ahead.
Well, I just voted, and based on what the poll says, most people think the same as me, and I think she's going to go Arcane Trickster. I
did spell that wrong. Ha!
Trickster. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Nope.
Okay, fine.
I set up the polls. I go last.
Fine, I'm going. I mean, I feel like Thief is the most obvious for Not, because she is just a kleptomaniac. So I feel like the Thief abilities would be most useful to what she wants to do. So there's that. But then I think the Arcane Trickster makes sense, which I think everyone is probably agreeing on, because we keep seeing her try and learn magic with Caleb. So it just brings them that much closer to have this connection where he's teaching her magic, and therefore she can be the arcane trickster. But I think thief would be great because then she could just do like what is it, like as a bonus action, like literally you can be like fighting, you can stab, and then you can steal something off a person like while you're freaking like stabbing them, which is the greatest, and it seems so not
true.
That's pretty much exactly her personality.
My thought. Somebody voted it. Okay. In the last couple episodes, and it's kind of Sam's way of playing, but Sam usually ends up being kind of the voice of reason. And so Not has kind of, she's picked that up, or like he's RPing that through her of like the first time, like, okay, we're currently fugitives who haven't committed a crime, rid of these bodies, we are fugitives who have committed a crime. And now she's like, okay, we're going to send Caleb, who is not in suspicion of committing these crimes, to go talk and probably put himself and bring eyes on him. So I think it'd be interesting if Not went mastermind, because that's kind of what that whole class is all about. It also has a similar like know your enemy feature, where if you like observe them for long enough, you can determine if like their armor class is higher or lower than yours, what their best stats are. You can take the help action from 30 feet away, and Not being a goblin, that could be like a cool thing that she does, like, look over here at the goblin while someone else gets advantage on the attack. So that is where my vote lies, is for mastermind, but arcane trickster is probably the obvious choice, just because she said in the first one, he's been teaching me magic. So it looks like most people are going arcane trickster.
Yep.
Is there anything else you guys had to say on Not?
I love her.
Excellent. On to Yasha. What primal path do we think she's going to take? We've got Path of the Berserker, Path of the Totem Warrior, Pact of the Battle Rager. I included it even though it's specifically for dwarves. Pact of the Ancestral Guardian, Pact of the Storm Herald. I think Pact. Oh, I did put Pact on some of these. Dyslexia is fun, you guys. Path of the Zealot and Path of the Juggernaut, which is from Matt's Tal'Dorei campaign.
I'm gonna go first because I have very little to say, and I'll let you guys go because you might actually have stuff to say. I have never looked at really the barbarians. My only thought, I feel like she would like Berserker because she likes to run in and smack, but I don't think she would because isn't that what Grog was? And I feel like she would want to explore something new. If I'm not gonna say Totem because I would have to imagine what the animals are, and I have no idea. So I'm gonna say Juggernaut just because it's also big and smashy. I don't know what any of them are.
A number of people have voted Juggernaut as well. Juggernaut feels a little weird to me because it's kind of descended from the Herd of Storms, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Which
Grog's
might
old
mean
thing.
It's a little weird over here in Wildmount. So I don't know if that is what she might take or not. But it is cool because it's it's one that Matt created that we haven't really seen much in use before, so it would make sense for them to kind of try to work that in. But I don't know. Berserker's the most common, and it's pretty cool, but I don't know. I really don't have a good
grasp on them either. Yeah, I don't.
Not good. Not necessarily a good grasp on them, but a good grasp on Yasha, where I really have an idea of where she might go.
Yeah, she's the one we've seen the least, right? So it just makes sense.
And only in combat once, and she barely got to rage.
Yeah, I thought Path of the Zealot would be pretty cool. Because she did mention needing, to be told that she could leave or whatever. So it's possible that she is kind of a barbarian that follows a deity, but don't know what kind of deity that might be. We haven't really gotten a good idea of her Aasimar background. We'll figure that out when she, starts to do some stuff. But what kind of character she is, maybe alignment wise.
Personally, I kind of think Juggernaut, based on just Ashley, who's always talked about wanting to play somebody who just beats everything up. But it also makes sense in my mind to go with a subclass that Matt made, so that if she has any questions, he has the answers and doesn't have to look in the. Or he'll still have to look in the book, I'm sure, but he'll be more equipped to help her on the fly with this is how that works because I created it.
Mm-hmm. And she can playtest it for him, and if he needs to put out any changes, he can just be like, "Hey, we've decided this thing now, based on like the feedback." And you guys have all seen it on the show, so it makes sense.
The other one though, I did like Ancestral Guardian, because like ASMR, so angelic spirits or whatever, and you can call down ancestral spirits to like assist you. I don't know, just like the visual of it can make sense in my head. But I like that everybody was kind of split.
I think a lot of people weren't sure about. I think she's the one that is the hardest to narrow down because we've seen her the least.
True.
I did not vote for Zealot, but that's what I'm hoping.
Nice. Cool. Next one is Fjord. What packed boon will Fjord take? It's probably super obvious what everyone's gonna pick. So instead, I'm gonna make this interesting. And Jess, I want you to argue Tome, and Herky, I want you to argue Chain on why he's gonna take that.
I don't know any of these.
Oh no!
I don't know them.
Which one did I give you? Tome. So Pact of the Tome is you get a spell book that is full of like X number of spells from any class.
Yes, that one.
Yes. Explain why you think he would take that.
Just
give him that little snippet.
That's
good enough. That's what I was
thinking. Yeah, because spells. I don't know. So he can take all the... Because we've seen him... we've gotten to see Travis as more of a planner, and he could make good use of picking spells from different classes. So that...
we'll give you C marks for that.
Instead of arguing for Pact of the Chain, I'm really just gonna kind of more argue against Pact of the Blade.
Okay, that works too.
Voice when you look at it for words based on what he has, because he's obviously a Hexblade. But Pact of the Blade doesn't really give you any bonuses, like any substantial bonuses for someone who has a Hexblade patron. Because I mean, it allows you to make like a magical blade that you're like bonded with, but he already has that with his patron. So being Pact of the Blade doesn't really give you any sort of benefits. So it's very possible that he's going to take Pact of the Tome or Pact of the Chain. I would like to see Pact of the Chain. It'd be really cool to see another familiar in the party. But we'll see if something like that actually happens. I think he might surprise us, and it might not be Blade.
Yeah, so it does expand your options. He can have bow and two-handed weapon as a Hexblade. Like, because with just regular Pact of the Blade, it has to be a melee weapon. I don't think he'd ever use it, though, if he could switch to a ranged. And we're still super fuzzy. Everyone else is on Blade thing on if he actually has a sentient weapon right now. I don't think he does. But Pact of the Blade, I think he would take just based on being able to summon it and get rid of it at a moment's notice whenever he wants. Pact of the Tome, just based on him always being inquisitive on like, oh, you cast spells, tell me how, can you teach me?
Mm-hmm. And he wants to go to the academy.
Pact of the Chain, all of these are kind of based on his interactions with Caleb on seeing what he can do magically and like maybe wanting to learn how to do it. So Pact of the Tome and Pact of the Chain are kind of two ways that he could do that.
Yeah, I think he's going to go with one of those, honestly.
True. And last one, Molly Muck. So he's got a Blood Hunter order to choose. Are you guys familiar?
Not even a little bit.
Okay.
Not even a little bit.
I'm a little bit. I only have Profane Soul that I've played, but the options are Order of the Mutant, Order of the Ghost Slayer, Order of the Profane Soul, and Order of the Lycan.
Order of the Lycan just to piss off Travis.
So the differences
just to be like,
are...
I did it and you didn't.
So the Mutant are kind of an order of blood hunters that kind of take the whole self-mutilation thing to the next level. Like when you slice yourself to activate your blood right, they kind of get a rush from that whole augmenting your body to do more power stuff. And so they have different concoctions that they make that can, like, you know, you get a boost to speed, but you lower your intelligence, or you heighten your intelligence, but now you're super weak. Different things that give you a benefit, but then also like something that's detrimental to your stats is kind of what the mutant one is set up against. And I kind of see that one working out because he was a circus folk. So like world's strongest man, you can take a drink and like become that. Order of the Ghost Slayer, they kind of do radiant type damage and they're hunting undead. They're all about like it describes them as being fascinated with that point between life and death. They'll often like sit with somebody who's like terminally ill and watch them fade into that and kind of like themselves go to the brink of death just to see what it's like. Profane Soul, similar to a warlock. They've seen how people that have these warlock packs are able to do powerful things, and blood hunters are kind of all about taking that out. So they're kind of like using the bad guy's powers against them type thing, and then Lycan, you can become a were something.
That's the were one?
Yes.
That's the
Lycan is the were one, because Lycan.
Someone said he's going to become a were peacock because of his peacock.
Yes, I love that. I said that the other day.
I want that so bad.
Yeah, I think I said that in one of the other ones. Personally, I would love him to be a were peacock because that's the best imagery.
Just amazing. Just because he isn't already flamboyant enough to just become a were peacock.
So, like, Profane Soul would give him spells, Mutant, he would make concoctions. Lycan, he'd become aware something, and Ghost Slayer, he'd be able to do, like, radiant damage and kind of go into the ethereal plane, I think. So what do you guys think? So you say were peacock, what do you say, Herky?
Probably Mutant.
Probably Mutant?
I think it's different enough from the others that it suits Molly.
I like that. Well, cool. And I had one for Bo, but we were all kind of decided on the way, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about Bo.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty set in what Bo is gonna be.
True. Was there anything else in the episode you guys wanted to chat about? Anybody got anything in the chat to chat about?
Yeah, does anyone in chat have anything? I mean, I could always talk about Ford some more.
Talk about Ford. What do you got?
Okay, so let me interject here. Apparently, there's been this whole Ford conspiracy thing going on over the past couple weeks when I've been dead. I'm gonna counter that, and I think personally, I would both like this, and I think it's a very real possibility that there's no conspiracies with Ford, that he is just a straight up half-orc dude, and everyone is just kind of putting stuff where it isn't. And Travis just loves trolling people, so he's fine just making it sound mysterious when there's absolutely nothing weird about him in any way. He's just a half-orc dude.
If I could slam the table right now and not like I would but I'm like the mic is right there and I'm not gonna like make a giant sound. Right, so just imagining I'm slamming a table.
Just your rebuttal.
I'm like, no, Travis is fucking with us, and the longer he gets away with it, the more pleased with himself he is going to be.
But I think that there's nothing, because if there's nothing, then it can never be revealed that there's something. So he can troll that forever. If there's something to hide, he can only hide it for so long.
Okay, I get where, like, I think it was you and some other people pointed out stuff like he went unconscious and he didn't lose form. So it seems makes it a lot less likely that it's a mask of many faces things. Although he could be just changing small features that wouldn't have been, like, very noticeable. It could be very small things he's changing. Because,
but it's still
like,
a spell he has to cast.
But
you can't just do it
with it.
Like,
I know, but he's so charismatic and he's so slick and he's so sly, and I think like he can do it without using a spell slot, so he could just continue to do it. He would just, like you're saying, he'd have to do it
every hour, but he'd also have to hide.
Well, he could just be like just
and
like
he does that every hour, like
yes, and no one questions it because they're all a bunch of weirdos.
That's the thing that's overlooked in D&D a lot, I think, and something that I kind of focus and harp on in the games that I
you
play.
Have to, like, is that
when you're casting a spell, like, you are casting a fucking spell. Like, people see you cast a spell. If you're trying to do it like silently or secretly, like, it's very difficult to stealthily cast a spell without anyone knowing what you're doing.
And I'm pretty sure he casts Mask of Many Faces, like he's.
Yeah,
like
and even
he has to vogue.
Even if someone doesn't know the spell that you're casting, like, they can still tell that you're casting a spell.
Right, unless he just has to pee a lot every hour.
Okay,
that's possible.
Yes, he has a very tiny bladder, which is fine. But like even when he went to go do the switch, this episode to turn into the guard to trick the boat dude, when he walked away, they had a little mini discussion. Travis and Matt had a little mini discussion in which they were discussing how complicated it would be / how easy it was for him. And he was like, I have mask of many faces, so it is just this easy. And Matt was like, no, what, you're right. Like it would be like nothing. It would be like almost nothing. So you just need to do it. Like it's. They didn't even describe there being much of a transition or anything like that. And you know what? The Mask of Many Faces isn't even my biggest deal. It really isn't my biggest deal. I think like I said, I think he could be using it to mask something really small. I think he has a lot of things, like we've had a lot of hints that like Jester is like, oh, I like this new voice you're doing. It's different than the voice you were using when I first met you. The way the first episode that she was like, oh, you're so... What? Go ahead.
That's so because he accidentally slipped into Grog voice by accident. So that they were joking with him.
I think
he wasn't doing his voice correctly.
I think that like Laura knows what's up, and she likes as Jester putting little hints out there because she gets a maniacal laugh. Like she gets a like very pleased look on her face anytime she like as Jester says something sort of kind of sneaky about Ford. The first time they were hanging out at the bar, she went on and on about how handsome he looked that day, and like, why would she be saying it right then if she's already known him for an extended period of time? She's like, oh, look at you, you're so
because
like
she's impulsive and says what's on her mind always.
Okay, but he still doesn't look like a full half-orc. Like maybe he's half-orc, half not human. I think that's like an opportunity there because like we always assume that half-orcs are half-orc, half human. But what if he's half-orc, half something else? And
I think that's what most people are banking on, is that he's half orc, but his other half is something else. I don't think that could necessarily be ruled out. I just think it would be really funny if it's not something else, if he's just half orc and half human. The question that that arises there, if he's half something else, that would give him racial bonuses that we haven't really seen any evidence of him having. The only evidence of racial bonuses we've seen were general half orc, and those half orcs are there because they're partially orc, partially human. So they would neither need to be tampered with to be reduced, and or there'd be some sort of racial bonus that we don't know or haven't seen yet. And that would just make him really overpowered if he got like 2 racial bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sure there's no doubt that...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, if that's the case, there'd be no doubt that he and Matt worked together on, like, okay, yes. I want this from Orc, this from Yonti, or whatever.
Well, yes, exactly. Absolutely, because, like, he does have dark vision. But that's not just half-orcs that have that. That's, like, Yonti have that. Like, there's lots of other races that have that. He didn't come back immediately when he passed out, and he said, oh, I forgot. But how did he... Like, okay, entirely possible. It's his first time. It's their first time in the campaign. There's been a half-orc. It's entirely possible. I'm not saying that's impossible. But him and Matt forgot. So that lessens my, like...
it's happened to me in a game that I played. So it's possible.
I'm saying it's absolutely possible, there, but
that is the one thing where I can see that there could be an actual, like, them playing it off on purpose. But
yes, I think it's them playing it off on purpose, and it's like, I think it's like we discussed that he's half something else interesting, so he got some racial bonuses from that, so he had to give up something from half orc, and so I think maybe he gave up that from half orc.
And there's also the whole missing tusks thing.
Yeah, he's missing tusks and he has reptile eyes.
And he's got like all the gashes everywhere.
I don't think all half-orcs have to have tusks.
What about the reptile eyes? How many half-orcs do you know have reptile eyes?
Explain that. Do they have contacts? They don't have balloons, apparently.
He doesn't have a jutting jaw. He doesn't have a huge frame. Like, when you read in the thing, it says, like, half-orcs are in, like, the easily 200s of pounds. Like, when you read the description?
Like 10 or 11, so he's pretty weak, and like half-orcs have a pretty good bonus of strength. So, I mean, we also knew theoretically that he rolled pretty low in his stats based on how he complained compared to
mad about Laura's, yeah.
So, I don't know.
Ford is Frankenstein's monster. He's a little bit of everything. And then there's also, but then there's also just up for debate, like, obviously, we were just talking about his patron and stuff like that, because now we've seen like the barnacles and stuff like that. It's very like nautical. It's very like ocean themed, and we have his history of being a sailor. So I just love the premise. Like, one of the theories is that like he almost drowned, and his patron saved him, like he made a deal to come back or something like that. That one to me rules out the possibility of half Triton, which makes me a little sad because I like the Triton as a possibility, and if he was half Triton, he could have breathed underwater, so that wouldn't have been an issue. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. Like, and just the fact that he's new to his patronage, I think, is a very interesting place, and I assume that's why they want to go to the academy, is because he has very little experience, less knowledge with magic right now, and or maybe his patron told him to go there and get some information for them. Because yeah, I think it's interesting that, like, I'm curious to know if Jester was there when he got his power, because she's only known him for a while and he's only had his power for a little while. That's a path I want to explore.
Yep. But we can't because we have no information. Tell us your secrets.
And I think Travis is fucking with us. That's it. That's. I think Travis is.
He's
like
too smart of a guy to not want to fuck with everybody.
Yes, I think he's very pleased with it. Like, I think he didn't get to do much as Grog. I don't think he got to do too much as Grog, and I think as Ford, he could really like just really fuck with us, and I think that's an opportunity he would take.
Yeah, I agree, and I like that, and that's why I'm hoping that he's not half anything, and has been fucking with people forever. But I love that. I love having secrets and having mysterious backstories, and I also just really like having shady characters who are very gray on whether they're good or not. This whole campaign is very much like the types of characters that I play and create and throw at people in the games that I run. So I'm loving all of this.
I like some of this stuff. Has anybody pitched Ford as being half-elf? It explains nothing except how goddamn handsome he is. Or I think Ford is full Triton. He says half-orc due to being more accepted and can get away with it.
Mm-hmm. And like he is a water savvy kind of person. Like Bo the Breaker did kind of have an interaction with Ford where he recognized him as a half orc, so he could like just try to pass it off, I guess, with his charisma, but I think he looks enough like a half orc that people think he's a half orc, including other half orcs. Yeah.
Well, that I guess is what we're gonna leave everybody on until next time, until we learn. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you to my co-hosts. If you guys want to say your names again so everybody knows who you are, even though they already do.
That's Herk.
That's Jess. I don't know which way I should be pointing.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, shit, which way? I don't know.
You're down.
Because on this Discord you're below me, so I went down. Herk.
I was looking at the stream, but I don't know if you have our cameras flipped or not. Anyway, nope. Yeah, we are Jess and Herk.
And I'm Matt.
We are Jess and Herk. Have a good night. Bye.
Have a great night. I don't have any closing fun thing to say. Do you have anything?
I love our Trashfire fam, and I'm excited to see more dad bonding. Our two dads. I love our two dads.
Our two dads.
Jess loves dad bondage. And good night.
I mean, sure. Bye.